Okay, today we're going to go through DPS pre-paving assembly operation. During this procedure, the first thing you want to make sure you do is ensure that you have all the equipment and charging apparatus for the day. So first we'll go through all the equipment and hardware you'll need. So the first thing I'm going to be displaying here, these are the three cables that are going to connect your GPR sensors to the cart. We also have our cable that connects our tablet to the concentrator box. We also have our three different GPR sensors, all having their unique sensor IDs. So this is 0115, and the remaining two are 0114 and 0113. We also have an optional cable. This is if you have a high accuracy GPS, you can connect from the USB port of your tablet to port 2 of, in our case, a Trimble R8 GPS receiver. The next piece of equipment we have here is our tough pad. This is what we're going to use for our data collection, basically our controller. And starting now, we also have charging cables associated with each one of these pieces of equipment. So here's our charger for the tablet. We also have a recommended external charger. This one is this is a Halo brand battery charger that we actually use to keep our power on our tablet throughout the day of testing. As we work our way down the line here, we also have our lithium-ion batteries. This is what we do to charge the sensors. This is going to be connected to your concentrator box. And you can see here we actually have two on the charger, and we also have two spare. We also recommend having spare lithium-ion battery chargers as part of your operations. They're hot swappable, so if you have multiple charged batteries throughout the day, it'll allow you to keep continuous power to your cart for the entire day of paving. We also have optional GPS controller. This is a Trimble TSC3. This is what we use to set our GPS to the correct settings so that it can get connected to our virtual reference station. And that allows us to get high accuracy GPS. And this, of course, also comes with the associated charger cord. And then we have our MiFi. This is a piece of equipment that just allows us to connect to the internet, which is required for us to connect to our virtual reference station called MinCore's network. And then, of course, we have to have our GPS receiver to be able to get us the GPS fix. This is our Trimble R8 receiver, and we actually have two batteries charging here, and we like to have, it only requires one for operation, but we like to have two fully charged batteries at the beginning of each day. And then we also have our bar that comes with this. This is what we'll use to assemble the sensors onto the cart, and we'll go over that part next. Step consists of taking our bar and installing it onto our cart. This is our cart apparatus that we use for data collection, and this also includes the orange concentrator box as well as our DMI that we'll use to control our data collection. So first we'll start by unscrewing these bolts and installing our bar. So this should just sit nicely right on the rest here, and you're going to want to line up your holes. and tighten those bolts until your bar is safely secured to your cart. The next step, we're going to be taking our GPR sensors and installing them on our cart. So what we like to do when we set our sensors up is we like to start with our lowest numbered sensor and put it on the left side from the perspective of where you're going to be pushing the cart. So since we have 113 through 115, we're going to install 113 on our left side. And this is just done by installing the sensor, making sure this is nice and loose, installing your sensor here. At this point, we're not too concerned about these sensors being straight up and down. We're just going to want to slightly secure them in place. And we're going to do this for all 3 sensors at this point. Now we will be showing you how to install our cables to connect our GPR sensors to our concentrator box. So I've grabbed the cables that we have associated with the 3rd sensor. We like to keep that consistent, but these cables are interchangeable such that you can use them for any of your GPR sensors. But we'll start by connecting the concentrator box side, and you can see here by looking at the end of the connections, which end is going to go where. And this is where I'd like to note that if you have to force anything when you're connecting the cables, you're probably doing it wrong, and it's best to just, instead of trying to force it further, reevaluate what you're doing and make sure you get a secure connection. So the first thing we're going to do is connect this end here to our concentrator box, and you can just slightly rotate it until it kind of locks into place. And once you're locked into place, you can put a little bit of pressure up here and just screw it into place. And once that is secure, you can now take the other end of your cable and connect it to your GPR sensor. So again, we're just going to lightly place this on this connection, and you can kind of see that you're in the right place with this connection when this GSSI logo is facing towards the inside of your sensor. And once that's in place, you can lightly put a little pressure up here and then screw it into place. So to ensure that we don't have that kind of a problem, we like to secure this cable here at the top of this bar. Just going to continue to do this for the other 2 sensors here. We're now ready to move on to our DMI connection, and this cable here will actually connect to our master sensor, and we like to use our middle or center sensor as our master sensor. And much similar to the other connections, this is one where you want to just lightly rotate it around until you kind of hear it click into place, and then once it's into place, you can just rotate that till it's nice and secure. And again, similar to the other cables, we want to take this strap and ensure that we're not going to have a hanging cable affecting our measurements below our sensor. Now we're going to take this cable and connect it to our concentrator box. This is the cable we're going to use to connect our tablet to the concentrator box. The first step in this process will be to take this end of the cable and, similar to the other cables, just lightly rotate it until it's into place. So now what we're going to do actually is take this end and run it up through this portion of the cart. We need to take our tablet and take this end of the cable and connect it into this part of the tablet in the back. But it is a similar step where you kind of just wait for it to clip into place before you rotate it to secure it. And it is but now that we have that connected, we're just placing the tablet on top, and then with these pressure mounts, we can press down here to secure that into place. Installing our batteries. You can see here that we have only 2 batteries charging right now. That's because there's only 2 batteries necessary, but we also like to keep 2 fully charged spare batteries on hand, and that way we will have spare batteries ready if we run out of power out in the field. So we're going to take our first battery and install it on the top portion here and lock that into place. And once that's nice and secure, we can move on to our next battery and make sure you install it so that the connection is lined up properly, and then clip that into place. Portion is an optional connection of our external GPS receiver to our DPS system. So first we'll take our fully charged battery and install it into our R8 receiver. And for this to work properly, what I like to do is set our battery in place and then install our cover. And this is the next step, is to take our Trimble R8 and screw it on our threaded rod here. So this just allows us to continuously monitor that we're getting our GPS fix as we're collecting our data. In order to communicate that GPS fix to our system, we need to take our USB connection, and once that's plugged in on the controller, we have an adapter that allows us to connect from the USB to port 2 of our GPS receiver. And this can be done on the underside of our R8, and it's just like a VGA cable where you put a little bit of pressure to make sure it's installed, and then you can screw in on the sides to make sure that that connection stays into place for the duration of your testing. And at this point, you're ready to collect external GPS data in your system.